Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, we're focused on plateau security and the clamor for forest guard. And I've been speaking with Isaac Abrak, a journalist and chairman, Northern Youth Christian Professionals, as our guest for tonight. Mr. Abrak, thank you so much for staying with us on the program. Let's talk insecurity in Plateau State. As a son of the soil, what exactly is it with Plateau State that makes peace look like a tall dream?
Come again?
What makes insecurity, or rather, what exactly is it with Plateau State that makes peace look like a tall dream?
Well, you know, first we have to look at the geographical location of Plateau State. We have to look at the issues around climate. Plateau State is located almost at the center of Nigeria. It almost has an all-year irrigation system. There is a lot of water that remains, substantial water remains in the soil almost all year in Plateau State. And as such, farmers do very well in Plateau State. Cattle rearers also do very well in Plateau State because there is a lot of grazing land there. And we're also compounded with climate change, whereby some of the headers, you know, that are in the Sahel countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Niger, you know, some of those countries, you know, the rains are not so much in those countries anymore. So in the days in the 80s when we were growing up, you would see, particularly during the Christmas period, you would see a large herd of cattle, a community, almost a community of cattle and a community of herders, including children, their mothers, goats, chickens, a whole household, like a clan, moving. So they used to move from those regions and come to the middle belt of Nigeria, Nasarawa, Plateau, part of southern Kaduna, and also Benue and some part of Kogi State. They come there, and after a while, they would graze their cattle there, and after a while, when the rain has returned in their countries, they would go back. But as the climate situation rages on, the rains become more shorter, and as such, the desire, you know, for these herders to stay longer, you know, in these communities around the middle belt began to get bigger, and as such, in the process of doing that, they were clashing, you know, with the local farmers. Clashes resulting from population explosions, which also where you see farmers also encroaching into cattle path. Is it cattle paths that they call them? Cattle paths where cattle, you know, these cattle rearers have paths where they move all around, not just Nigeria, the West African coast, you know. So, because of population explosion, we have farmers who also encroach into these cattle farms. So, when these bokolos or bororos, which we used to call them, when they are coming, they naturally will follow those paths. And when they come there, they will find out that those parts have been cultivated and there are crops standing there. Sometimes they go into it unconsciously, sometimes consciously. Unconsciously because the cattle themselves already know those parts. So they will just trample on the crops. You know? So that is a part. Then, as the climate change becomes so very intense, these people would prefer to just live, particularly around the plateau. And they do not sometimes know, we most times understand the mutual agreements that already exist between the indigenous Fulani, for instance, in Bariki Ladi or in Zangon Kataf, you know, with the farmers. They don't understand that mutual agreement. And as such, when they come, they breach those agreements. And unfortunately, sometimes when they breach those agreements, and since they are basically nomads, they can be passing and trample on a farmland, and they will go past by the next morning. And when the farmer wakes up, he would know that it is cattle, and he will begin to think that it is his neighbor, that cattle that trample on his crops. This is something I know. I grew up in the village. I farmed in the village in the 80s. These things happen, and and there was a way of reconciling these issues. So the cattle, the herders now want to permanently stay around the Middle Belt. And as such, there is not yet a clear-cut agreement on how they should move into this area. So therefore, this is why the conflict continue to rage on.
Right. Mr. Abrak, I do apologize. I find this perspective very interesting because there are those who have said these attacks are more economical or economic than religious or ethnic.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for even putting it clearly like that. Most of the attacks that we're seeing, around are basically economic driven. They strive, for survival. The Fulani man wants to survive. The farmer wants to survive, and a limited land available. So this is the situation. Then also, there is also what we have come to now begin to understand, the trend of the solid minerals, where communities where there are solid minerals deposit under the soil, we find out that there is a lot of Fulani attacks, violence going on in those communities. We know that the plateau is blessed with a lot of rich mineral resources lying below their soil, and as such, a lot of people believe, and it makes sense, believe that it's possible that this is what is causing the problem. I give you example. Wase local government was attacked sometimes in 2002, and over 200 people were killed. And we know that Wase is blessed with a lot of solid mineral resources, and overnight, within 24 hours, about 200 people were killed. Now, in Wase local government, it is basically dominated by both Muslims and Christians, almost like a 50-50 or 60-40 balance. And the death toll, those people that were killed there included Christians and Muslims, Hausas, and the indigenous and some of the tribes in Plateau. So you see, it's basically economical driven. So it now suggested that it's possible that it is the solid minerals that is there. How about Zamfara State? We can take the cue from Zamfara State. There is gold in Zamfara State, and Zamfara State violence is also raging. You see, even the issue about Maiduguri, Borno State, it is believed that there is a bed. There is a bed of petroleum resources lying under that basin, and as such, this is why we are seeing, the raging of the violence in those regions.
All right, but will there ever be peace on the plateau, and how can this be achieved? Absolutely. I mean, before the revitalization of the forest guards.
Absolutely, it can be achieved. And this is why we are calling on Bola Ahmed Tinubu to bring in the forest guard. What we need to understand here is that all the parties in Plateau State are tired of these killings. As a journalist, I cannot tell you how many stories I've written of over 50, 100 people killed, particularly in Plateau State and around the country. So if journalists like us will be tired of writing stories of killings, at a time when I was working with Thomson Reuters, we had to stop reporting the violence there because of the way people were killed. So it was as if we were giving them free publicity. So we had to stop. So if journalists can get tired, of all these killings, how about the people that are being killed? They are tired. But the Fulanis that are there and the farming communities that are there, they are tired. If we give them a chance, if we are to give them a chance to reconcile these differences, I am telling you, they will live in peace. And forest guard is the opportunity. You go to Mongu local government. You take Fulani that are living there. You take the tribes that are living there. Bring these people together. Train them. Inculcate the spirit of nationalism and patriotism and citizenship to them. Get them to understand that if we live in peace, you will have enough ranches or enough farmland, green farmland, to rear your cattle. And the farmers too, we have tractors. You know, they will move from peasant farming to mechanized farming because there is peace in the country. Thank God to what our president is doing, moving around all over the country, all over the world, inviting investors to come over. So if we have these forest guards, imagine, Jumoke, you have Fulani and let me use my language now, Baju people, right? Going into the forest to guard the forest. And they are able to successfully do that for 1 year. And they see that there is peace. Naturally, anywhere there is peace, there is economic growth. These people are going to be happy. But the communication between these people is going to increase.
I get you, but to what extent do you agree with Governor Mothwang when he said the abuse of illicit drugs plays a role in the heightened insecurity in the states? I mean, for him, the killings are a reflection of drug abuse.
You know, and some of the things that I'm saying, are things that I've collected interviewing Boko Haram, former members, and also people who were rescued from Boko Haram. You know what the terrorists do? When they come to your community, the first thing they try to do is to locate where the youth gather together to smoke all this marijuana and do all this drug abuse, take all these illicit drugs. That is where the first place they go to, and they recruit them. So when they recruit them, that means that they are importing these people into them, and when they have enough of they have money to purchase all of these illicit drugs. And again, the level of poverty again, is what throws idle-minded youths, into this drug abuse. So it is true. Even alcohol, too much consumption of alcohol, ogogoro or shepe, of what they call it, goskolo as they call it in local parlance, is also playing a big part in all of this. I give you an example, Jumoke. Just 2 days or 3 days ago, there is a boy in Kaduna State, Kajuru local government, that collaborated with Fulani people to kidnap his own father. And looking at them, just looking at the video, you could see clearly that these are drug abusers. And I want to believe that those boys were recruited, at the point of taking drugs or at the joint where they take all these drugs. So you see how very, how very endemic it is. So yes, I agree with the governor of Plateau State. The use of illicit drugs, is also playing a part in this banditry that is killing our people. So
great. As a wrap-up tonight, Mr. Abrak, we're gradually running out of time. What's your advice to the federal government on the lasting way to secure Nigeria?
Forest guard. Mr. President, do it. You have the audacity. We voted you because you have the audacity to take on initiatives that others are afraid to do. You did it in Lagos. You did it with LASMA. You used the area boys, and they became the ones that cleared the streets of Lagos. That was why the commercial center of Nigeria, the financial commercial center of Nigeria, thrived. You did it. Vice President Kashim Shettima, you have to fulfill destiny because you have done it in Borno State. You succeeded. And as such, you are here now. You can do it. We call on and we ask also the security chiefs to collaborate with the president, because the army particularly knows how important the forest guard is, because the civilian JTF played a big role. Even the hunters in Adamawa State played a big role in the recovery of Hong, Song, Gombe, Madagali, and Mubi. So this is something that is known. So we have to be bold, in approaching this thing. Forest guard
Right.
is going to be the solution of all of these things. Jumoke, I assure you, you would see how very easily that these people are going to be arrested. This problem is going to be
Right,
surmounted. The Fulani people, the indigenous Fulani people, they are not happy with all these people coming from Burkina Faso and Mali and causing problem, to their source of livelihood. They don't like it. If they have a way that they would collaborate with their farmers and they will solve this problem, they will do it. And Forest Guard
Thank you so much,
is that
Mr.
platform
Abarak.
that we can unite these people.
Right, great conversation tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Isaac Abrak is a journalist and chairman, Northern Youth Christian Professionals. Tonight we discuss plateau security and the clamor for Forest Guard. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jumoke, for having me.